Hey guys, it's Jason here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the video. Today we get to check out the Arrma Big Rock 6S. Now guys, while we open this thing up, I'm going to just quickly go over one thing. There's been quite a bit of controversy regarding this truck. It seems to be that Arrma may have missed out on a few things, but for this video, we're not going to talk about that. We don't care. We are just going to bask in the glory of this body that I paid $340 for. And if you're wondering what I mean by that, here in Canada, the Fire Team has been on sale for like a month, I think around 6 something, and this thing was $980. So I figure I paid about 300 and I don't know, $50 or something like that just to get this body. So the usual thing now, we get these little cards and this little type of diagram showing you how to attach the tires because they no longer put the tires on the truck from factory, which is fine. I actually always think that looks kind of cool when you get to put the tires on. When you first get to take the truck out, it's just sitting there looking all raw like. Now, I do got to thank, I think it's Metal RC, I think was his name. And if I screwed that up, dude, I'm sorry. You're probably not watching this video anyways. But he was the one that was kind of one of the first people that showed that these zip ties can just be kind of clicked and pulled apart. So you can actually keep them and reuse them. So it's always kind of nice to have those big zip ties. Even though I did just buy 700 from Amazon. So first thought, besides from how annoying this is taking it out of the box, is this thing's heavy. Like really heavy. And I know I've watched now a few videos and people talk about how heavy the body is, but the whole truck is heavy. But anyways, I'm going to get these zip ties off. All right, guys, there it is, the Arrma Big Rock 6S in all its glory. Now, the body, I'm kind of got mixed sort of impressions on it, guys, and I'm going to get right into that right away. First off, it looks phenomenal. That red metallic paint, all that stuff looks amazing. The kind of headlight sort of buckets that they've got going on, the bumpers, the grille, the rear view mirrors, the rear kind of bed liner, the roll bar, the little kind of power balls in the front, the skids themselves, everything, guys, looks amazing. They did a phenomenal job. And I do really believe, guys, that that's where the money of this truck went. If there was any R&D, it was just the body. Now, the only complaint I have with that body, and I'm going to show you guys something in a second, is the original Big Rock, the Nero, which I had, was very, in my opinion, proportioned well. The body, the tires, everything looked really, really good. Sitting this thing down, getting the tires on, putting it on the bench, the 6S Big Rock, this one now suffers from, in my opinion, the same thing the 3S does, where it's the body looks small. It looks kind of skinny, and it just gives off kind of a different vibe. If you have a fire team or you've seen a fire team and you think you're going to get something that looks the same except with a truck body, in my opinion, you're not getting that. This truck does have a smaller feel, and what I'm going to do, just so you guys can understand, is I'm going to grab my Mojave 4S as well as my Kagama. Even though the Kagama right now has bigger tires on it, I just want you guys to see this truck beside other trucks. So first up, I grabbed the Mojave 4S, and yes, I've got 6S size Mojave tires on it, but you can see as I back off, guys, they're not that different. Now, I think the Mojave comes in around a 15-inch wheelbase where the Big Rock is 16.5. So yes, the wheelbase is different, but just the overall size of the truck, when you kind of stand back and look at them, they don't look all that different. And again, guys, that is just the skinny body. So if I kind of set the Big Rock like this, and then if I come up, hopefully this will work, you can see the difference. And I don't know, I think, again, that's sort of a missed opportunity for Arrma on this truck. It would have been nice if the body was similar to the Fire Team in size so that it really did keep that big look to it. In my opinion, I think it kind of falls short. Anyways, I'm going to grab the Kagama now. Now, the Kagama sort of looks like a stunt truck behind the Big Rock. You can't hide the length of the Big Rock. I'm just referring, guys, to just the overall size. I think because the body is a little bit skinnier and the tires are a little bit smaller, it kind of reduces that wow impact, that big impact that you were kind of hoping for. I always kind of found, even though the Fire Team had those kind of weird tires, it looked big. And the Big Rock just doesn't have that same kind of vibe. Now, the one thing I will not fault this body for at all is in the looks category with all the plastic, the lights, the mirrors, everything. It looks really, really good. I would have liked to have seen these roof skids maybe just a little bit higher. They're very almost kind of flush with the body, but I think between the roll bar and this kind of little lip right here that you got as well, hopefully that'll take a lot of the impact. The truck bed itself is again kind of a little bit, there's a little bit of controversy here only because I feel like I would have liked to have seen what they did here. So having the plastic mount around the body post is awesome because obviously once you put the body pins in, the pins are sitting on this instead of the Lexan, which is awesome. This I think they could have done without. I know they're probably trying to take away from the body post and keeping the scale realism and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just think that's a little bit goofy. Having this whole bed in here though does add quite a bit of weight to the back of the truck. That's kind of a concern. A lot of people have mentioned this. Yeah, when you take the body off, there's a lot of weight there. But I am hoping that overall, guys, and I'm going to be changing the power system out at some point, probably sooner than later, I won't notice that extra weight. I don't say this very often, but kudos to Traxxas because they've had the light bar on the Summit since day one. And I think it's kind of a real missed opportunity if they don't have something on here. I'd love to see something where it's like 4 LEDs forward and then maybe even LEDs going backwards or something like that, because I think that would be pretty awesome. Because I do plan on running this truck a lot this winter. I'll be running the paddles on it. Sometimes it'll be, you know, later at night when I get home from work. So I think having some nice bright LEDs on it would be definitely cool. Now, the one thing I didn't mention when I first got the truck out was that I did immediately make some adjustments to the suspension. So I'm going to show you guys what I did, but there was something really wonky going on with this truck. Now, what I did was this. Back here, these collars were pretty much tightened all the way down, but the collars at the front were all the way up. So no matter what you did, the truck always kind of sat like that. And I know that's kind of dramatic, but it was just really weird. It didn't matter if the body was on. It didn't matter after I put the battery in. It just constantly sat weird. So before I could even video it and show you guys, I had no choice but to change it because it was driving me nuts. So again, a bit of a interesting way of setting it up. I don't know if that was like a quality control thing and maybe some trucks just didn't get tuned properly or something, but either way, we've changed those out. You guys could also see I added in the Basher Queen carbon fiber tower to tower brace. I do like all the black. I think having all black is stealthy, but I still wanted a little bit of character. And I think just between the carbon fiber, the aluminum rod ends and stuff like that, it kind of spruces it up a little bit. I know a few people have mentioned this and I tend to agree. They blacked out the ESC. They have this kind of now new sort of grayish color on here. I don't know why they didn't do something with these orange connectors. Now, I think part of it is just, I don't know, maybe being easier to plug in the battery. I don't know. Maybe they stand out more. I'm not really sure about that. But if you're going to do kind of a stealth look, a murdered out look, I would say that the ESC connectors, the IC5, sorry, should have also been blacked out as well. You do have this new servo. Now, I've already powered up the truck. You can see I've got one of my 6S LiPos in there. This doesn't make any sense. And I'm not referring to the 25.2 servo horn because that is awesome. It's the servo I'm referring to because the servo is 20 kilograms, which I think is somewhere around 277 ounces of torque. And I am going to power this thing right up so you guys can see this because the fire team itself always seemed to have great steering. I remember when I first got that truck, I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm going to have to, you know, update the steering servo and all that kind of stuff. Until you powered it up and you were genuinely like, hey, you know what? This is pretty impressive. It works pretty well. What I'm going to do, guys, right now, though, is I'm going to plug this thing in. I'm going to power it up, and I'm going to show you the steering on this thing because not only is it torquey, it's very quick. Now, I don't think I've mentioned this yet already, but I've already swapped out the Spectrum receiver for one of my Radio Link ones. Got my RC8X here. Very loud tone there. It actually kind of shocked me the first time I powered it up. But anyways, guys, here we go. I am very impressed with that. Again, guys, with the fire team, I always found that the fire team was very quick and also very fast. this is the same thing. It works really well. Now, one thing I should also mention, guys, when it comes to the RadioLink radio is I did add one of the receivers with the built-in gyro. So you can see right now, unlike what this truck is like out of the box, there is no gyro, there's no AVC on this truck stock. And it's funny, I used to never like them. I'd always turn them right off and never use them until you start getting used to them. And if you're kind of doing speed runs or you're wanting to just do some really nice long passes and stuff like that, having the gyro, having the AVC definitely helps. So I knew this was something I was going to be doing right away. I didn't do it on video or anything like that. I just immediately, when I got the truck out of the box, I had tuned the suspension as well as swap in that receiver.
All right, guys, before we move on, I just want to ask your opinion on something. Before this clip right here, I was using a different microphone. So I bought this little cheap Bluetooth microphone off Amazon. It was like $20 Canadian. However, I don't think I like it. I don't think I like the audio. I don't like the way it sounds, because the reason I use that microphone is as I move around the room or I'm moving around the car, the audio will change a little bit. It'll kind of go left, right sort of thing. So that's why I bought that little microphone, but I don't like the sound of it. So let me know what sounds better, the video from here on, or the first, whatever it was, 5-10 minutes or whatever it was. I think it was 10 minutes. Please let me know. One thing I really like about this truck, guys, moving on back to the truck, is they did go to the Creighton style steering blocks and rear hub carriers. Now, for those that don't know, the Fire Team came with the buggy size ones. So that's what you've got here. These are the Creighton style ones. So you can see when I kind of set this beside it, the difference. So they're a lot wider, and that's why with the Fire Team, you needed to have kind of not hex extenders, but you just had to make sure that you had larger hubs in them. With Proline wheels, they often come with a little bit more offset, so they did stick out. But with my Method RC wheels and tires, I had to get their aluminum slightly wider hexes to use them, or else they actually rubbed on the arms. So again, it's a nice improvement they did here. I'm glad that they used those. Now, back into the body, I'm going to keep referring to the Fire Team because, again, guys, this is fairly close to it. You no longer have the rear handbrake, which personally, I don't think anybody is going to miss. When I first got my Fire Team, yeah, I tried it a few times, but it's not something that you genuinely think of because, let's face it, most trucks don't have it. So again, guys, I think maybe the first video I kind of used it a few times and then I never used it ever again after that. So to get rid of it is kind of nice. It cleans things up a little bit. You still have the same 2050 kV motor. You now have a Arrma 150. I think they're referring to it as a version 2. Now, I've seen some issues with this ESC. The one thing that it's kind of weird, and I might go into it in another video, is when I plugged in my program card. So I have a Hobbywing program card. I have the Hobbywing digital program card. The digital program card did not work. I've had that problem before with Spectrum receivers, or sorry, Spectrum ESCs. But the Hobbywing generic card works. So I'm referring, guys, to this one right here. That guy. It works. The weird thing is that when you plug it in and you go to the manual to look at all the settings, because for some reason every ESC always has to have a different layout, which means punch on one ESC might be 4, and then on another ESC it's 6, and on another ESC it's 2. I don't know why they have to do it that way, but when you plug this thing in, you have an extra value that is not in the manual. And unfortunately, when you go and you start looking at other ESCs like a Max 8 Gen 2, the Arrma 150 version 1, none of them line up correctly. So you can't kind of go, okay, well, this one here follows this pattern, so that's what this extra value is. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm assuming that if I got the Spectrum program card and plugged that in like the actual digital one, that then it would actually show you what that item is, because on those digital cards, and what I'm referring to, guys, is this right here. Probably should have taken this down first. This guy right here. So this is the Hobbywing one. So when you power it up, it actually tells you what you're on. It'll tell you punch this, all that kind of stuff. Where with this card, you just get the item and the value. So I don't have a clue what that extra item is. I don't know what there's a value there, but I don't know what it is for. So I've gone ahead and I upped the punch to 7. I upped my brake to 50%. The BEC was set at 7.4. So we're kind of good to go there. Overall, guys, I'm going to make this very clear. I'm very happy with the truck. I'm liking the way it looks. I've wanted a 1/7 scale monster truck for a long time. So I bought the Mojave. It's, you know, a desert racer short course truck, and not having the width, not being able to put bigger tires on it was always kind of an issue. The fire team was awesome, but I didn't really love the body. I did like it. I did think it looked good. I did get a custom one. It was all custom painted. It looked great, but I've always wanted a 1/7 scale truck. Now, I'm going to address one thing here. I do have the Habao Hyper MT Plus 2, and maybe in a later video, guys, I'll show the two of them together, but that truck still looks like a behemoth beside the Big Rock. I think it's just between the tires and all that kind of stuff. Now, I won't be on the stock tires, guys, anytime soon. We got hit with about 5 to 6 inches of snow, and going out on these tires would just not be any fun. So my first few videos, guys, with this, unless we get a bit of a thaw, will be on my paddles. So I do have the Pro Line. I think they're DuPont paddles. I'll be running those for the first little bit. But on the topic of the tires, if you've watched many Big Rock videos, everybody comments on the tires, and all I'm going to say is they are all right. And again, guys, for this video, because I want to keep it kind of positive, yeah, the tires, they're a little bit different. I don't really know what's going on there, because when you kind of walk around your hobby room and you start kind of feeling other tires, these are really different. Again, guys, I want to keep this video on an up and up, so we will address that in another video. Now, one other thing I want to address while we've got the body off is this battery tray. So the battery tray and the receiver, they've always been one on all the Arrmas, or at least for a very long time, but they've moved it way back now. And you can see you got this big kind of open space here. I'm not really sure why they did that. All the weight seems to be at the back of the truck. The motor's back here, the ESCs is in the middle. And even when you're holding the body, and I was trying to balance it with one finger, I didn't find it to be front heavy or anything like that. The body is just overall heavy. You got to remember that that back body has the bed liner and all that kind of stuff. And so this is definitely a different kind of layout. Again, guys, I don't know why. I don't know if Arrma's ever going to release something kind of talking about the idea behind this truck and the reason they set it up the way they did. I would love to watch that, because it would definitely answer some questions. But again, just a bit of a different thing. And the one thing with having this 6S 5500 Gens Ace pack in here, you can see it's really long, and the cables themselves, they're not like binding up or anything like that, but they are hitting this back guard. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a follow-up video fairly soon after this one, kind of just talking about issues that I see in the truck and things that I wanted to address. I do have some theories on that rear suspension. I also have some theories on why some people that have been running their truck have had kind of some really weird balances when they get in the air and the way the truck responds. I think I have an idea what's going there, but overall, guys, and I'm going to get this out there, is I do love the look of this truck, and I'm glad I got it. I was pondering this truck and the Creighton 6S EXP RTR, because I do love my 6S Creighton EXPs, but I really wanted something a little bit different. I got lots of 8 scale size bashers, and I just wanted something a little bit bigger, a little bit more scale, and the Big Rock definitely fits that. As well as the issues that are going to come up with this truck, or issues that you've seen, most of them can be fixed with a little bit of tuning and all that kind of fun stuff. My guess is, even if there are issues with this new ESC, this new version of the ESC, once we get the programming card, again, the digital one, we should be able to update the firmware and change all that stuff out. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up, please subscribe, and have a great day.